Simple body language rapport is a wonderful way to quickly create a deep connection, a deep feeling of familiarity and comfort with the person you're talking to. But the way that rapport is generally taught, it can make it seem much more complicated than it needs to be, and it can lead to unexpected problems. The way people teach to use body language rapport is to first create following rapport, where you follow the person you're talking to. They move, you move. They move, you move. They cross your legs, you cross your legs, etc. And you follow them until you've established a baseline level of rapport. Then you start to lead them. You lead the other person. You move and then they move. You move and then they move, hopefully. And then once you've established leading body language rapport, then you lead the conversation. You lead the conversation with your language patterns, with your hypnotic patterns, etc. And you hopefully lead the conversation all the way to your outcome. But this can be much more complicated than it needs to be, and it can create unexpected problems. For one, rapport is not something we generally think about. So if you're trying to lead them through body language rapport, you'll have to keep track of your own body language when you move, and you'll have to make sure that they're following you. This takes up a lot of brain power. Also, when you're trying to lead somebody conversationally, this can create some kind of inner conflict, a kind of subconscious conflict, because we all have an ego, and our ego compels us to believe that we are the hero of every conversation. So if you're trying to lead somebody both with rapport and with body and linguistically during the conversation with your words, then they might feel a little dissonance because they feel like they're being led somewhere they might not want to go. A much, much easier way to use body language rapport to create outcomes that you want is to stay in following rapport. Follow their body language, and that's it. Then if you forget, you just need to quickly check where they are, make sure you're matching, and then go on with the conversation. And when you're following their body language, stay in the subordinate position. This is very, very counterintuitive to what most everybody teaches about sales and persuasion. Most everybody teaches that if you want to persuade somebody, you need to lead people. You need to be the frame hero of the conversation. But if you stay in the subordinate position, you can covertly lead them through inside their own ego by asking the questions that they answer. So if you are the one asking the questions and they're answering the questions, they're talking about themselves, they will feel really good because they will feel in control of the conversation. They will feel their ego getting recognition for being the hero of the conversation. So what kind of questions should you ask? Well, the questions you should ask are in two main categories. The first category is anything about their desires, anything about anything they want. Wherever the conversation goes, look for any opportunities to talk about future desires, to talk about their dream desires. If they're talking about where they live, ask, what is the ideal living situation for you? If they're talking about their gardening hobby, ask about their ideal dream garden. If they're talking about going on vacation, ask about their dream vacation. If they're talking about their job, ask about their dream job, and ask questions from inside their ego to expand their mental map of that ideal future state. And get that as big and bright and compelling as you can. Once you get that big and bright and compelling, then you can ask about a past experience. If you're talking about their house, for example, and you've talked about their future ideal house, their future ideal living condition, then ask about their past best experience within that context. What was the best place you've ever lived up to now? What was the best vacation you've ever been on up to now? What was the best job you've had up to now? And ask about their past experiences. And then build that up idea as big and bright as you can in their mind. Then you can shift into the decision questions. For example, if you ask them about the best place they've ever lived up to that point, say, how did you decide on that place? How did you know that would be the best place for you? And they will give you some kind of an answer, and they will give you an answer that reflects their decision-making power, how confident they feel when they make decisions, how good they feel when they make decisions, and expand out their decision map, and ask about other decisions. This will put them in a very, very good frame of mind. where they're thinking about past decisions, and whenever we reference previous memories, we feel all those same feelings while we're talking about that. So you will put them in the mindset of making a good decision. This is the perfect time to close them. But when you close them, make sure to close them from a subordinate position. While you're talking about their desires, you'll start to get some ideas in your head about suggestions you might make to them that will satisfy their desires and your desires, creating a mutually beneficial outcome. And the way you toss that in there from a subordinate position is say, look, I just had this thought. It might not make sense to you, but let me ask, what do you think about XYZ? Where XYZ is your suggestion. And they'll see XYZ through this very, very internally compelling mental map of their desires and all of their past decisions, so they will be feeling good decision energy. And when they see your suggestion through this frame of good decision-making energy, it will seem like a fantastic thing to do, and more often than not, they will take your suggestion. This is a very easy, very laid-back way to persuade people. A very easy, a very laid-back way to seduce people. A very easy way to get people along with your way of thinking. Just do it from the subordinate position, from inside their own ego, and lead them through questions to go to exactly where you want them to be. So start off with following rapport, and then ask questions about their desires, and then ask questions about their decisions, their good decisions, their successful decisions, and then toss out the suggestion from a subordinate standpoint. Do this and you'll have a lot more success than trying to lead the conversation. Try this on your friends, try this on strangers, and see how fantastically this works. If you'd like to learn more about how to use language patterns and techniques to become incredibly persuasive, check out the links below. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you next time.